guys, this is Becky here at Aunt Beck's Creations, and I wanted to come on and share this hat that I made. I put a link to the pattern that I followed. I can't remember. It's something houndstooth, and you're meant to work it in two different color yarns, but I just used this Lion Brand Mandala watercolors aquarelles that I picked up at the thrift store for $1.99 yesterday. And I made this hat following the pattern in the description box. And I still have this much yarn left. So I could probably make another hat like this. And the only thing I might have to do is look at my stash and see if I have some yarn that's similar in weight to maybe actually do the houndstooth part of it. Because I don't think this would be quite enough to make another full hat, but it could be, because it really didn't take much. Because, you know, that little ball, it might be fine. I might have enough here to make another one. Now, some notes about the pattern. When you do the beginning chain, it says chain 40. Work those chains very loose. Mine were too tight. So I had to fix my hat because you could not get it over your head at all. It was so tight. Even Scott was like, oh, this is extremely tight. So I didn't want to take my hat completely apart. So what I did is I took my crochet hook and I went to the beginning of where I started the chain back at the back here. And I carefully undid at the beginning. And then I went into the two loops at the bottom of the first row. And I went through those and then gently unworked the beginning chain. And then I just did a crochet, a single crochet into each one. So I would insert the hook and do a single crochet, go to the next one, do a single crochet. But in between, each time I added a single crochet around my whole hat, I had to work that beginning chain back out. Now, this is the first time I've ever done this, and it seems to have worked really well. At the end, I just made sure any and all tails that I had loose from undoing the beginning chain, I sewed them in very well. So it should not fall apart. And I think this is a really cute hat pattern. And I've never done the half double crochet in the third loop of a half double crochet. That's how you get these, the tops of the chain, the tops of the stitches lay flat to the front. And I've never done that. So if you want to look that up, look up half double crochet in loop of a half double crochet. And there's a video. I might go and get it for you and put it in my description box just so you can see what that means. Oh, hi, Gail. So the hat on my head that I picked up at the thrift store that needs a nose job. But anyway, it fits me now. And before I could not even get it on my head. So, and I love how that looks. And then they had you do it at the brim. You start at the bottom and work your way up. And then when you get to the top, you do it again. And that's how you get this flat section there. So I really like how this little hat turned out. And Scott was amazed. He said, it really doesn't take you long to whip up a hat. And I'm like, no, about an hour, maybe less, I can do a hat. But I think it's a pretty cool looking hat, especially with this yarn. And this yarn is 75% acrylic, 15% wool, and 10% nylon. And it says machine wash gentle and then lay flat to dry. Don't put it in the dryer. I guess that's because it's got the wool in it. And you definitely don't want it to shrink. So it was a very interesting construction. So if you're looking for just something to learn, maybe a new stitch or technique, this is a hat that would give you a new stitch and a new technique. Hi, Angie. And again, the link for the hat is in the description box. And again, work that beginning chain very, very loose, like make it almost sloppy on your crochet hook. Because if you don't, it's going to be way too tight and you'll have to do the work that I did to undo the starting chain and get it to be looser. It might also be one of those that's best started with where you single crochet into your chain as you're going. Violet told me about that her sister used to do that. And I need to learn to do that because I think in this particular case for this pattern, that might be the best way to start this hat instead of the whole chaining business, because you have to make sure your beginning chain is very, very loose. The hook should almost fall out of your loops. That's how loose it needs to be so that this hat can work up and go on your head. My fix worked immensely well. I didn't know if it would. I'd never done that before, but I like the kind of finish that it gave me as well on the edge. So it was a way to fix it. And I love how the hat turned out. I love this yarn. It's a joy to work with. And I might have to look and see if I can find some more at the Goodwills or somewhere. But it's the Lion Brand Mandala watercolors. And it's got that wool in it. So it's really, really a warm yarn. It's only, 15% wool, but it's still really nice. And it's a really cool looking hat. Morning, Pam. But I wanted to share that I did get a hat out of that little ball. And then while I was crocheting it, Ruth sent me a message and she said, weigh that skein and see if it's the weight that's on this wrapper. And I was like, duh, why didn't I think of that? But I was already started on the hat. So I was like, okay, I'll keep that in mind for next time. But as you get to the top, of course, you decrease in to where you only have 7 stitches and then you stitch it up. So that's all I wanted to share. I just wanted to share that, yes, I used the thrifted yarn, sometimes the same day. I added the white skein of Red Heart to my, I have one of my boxes is black and white, and it's got that black, white, gray multicolor. I think I'm going to do an Afghan just in the black and white. And it'll be one of those, if I make it up, I can set it aside as part of the Christmas bin. I think everybody that we came in contact with really liked that I had like a bin of handmade stuff that they could just choose something from. So I think that's something I'm going to just keep going and maybe make sets of dishcloths in sets of 3. And the yellow dishcloth that I finished and I only had 2, guess what? I got lots of that. This yarn. It's the cotton yarn. And I've got a bunch of this. So I can make multiple sets of the yellow. And I just finished this dishcloth. And I came up with this pattern on my own. I should write it down. It's got, I might write it down and share it with you guys if you'd like a different dishcloth pattern. Now, can I remember what I did? I'm going to try to. I'll try real hard to remember what I did. I needed to have written it down as I was doing it. But I love how it turned out. And I'd like to make a couple more to go with it. I might make them in different stitches. So the sets will be like 3 dishcloths, but they'll all have a different pattern to them. My grandkitty's stomping her way through. I have not used any of that scrubby, Angie. I've been at Joann's. I've picked it up a couple times, and then I put it back because when I worked at Michael's, I had several ladies come in and say, "Oh, you don't want to work with that. It's so scratchy scratchy and it's hard to work with. And so I just, every time I pick it up, I have them in my head going, oh, it's too much to work with. But wouldn't it be fun to do 3 dishcloths and then have a scrubby to go with it as well? So I might have to buy some of the scrubby yarn. But no, I have not made any yet. Hi, Christy McCoy. Christy, are you talking about in crochet or in knitting? I know in knitting, you have to catch those drop stitches, because if you don't, they work their way down the whole project. I think, is it Keely at Shadows at Midnight? I think she had spoken about maybe doing a video on how to deal with those drop stitches, but I have not. What she does is she's teaching her children who are under 5 years old. She's teaching them both. One is, the little boy is like 2 and her little girl's like 3 or 4. And she's teaching them to knit. And when they drop a stitch, what she does is she'll put a safety pin through the drop stitch so that it doesn't go any farther down until she can help them deal with it. And I'm not real sure how to do that. Arne and Carlos, I think, showed how to deal with drop stitches. And they're another channel that they teach Norwegian knitting. They're the Norwegian technique of knitting. Oh, that I can't help you with it all, Christy. I'm so sorry. I don't have a knitting machine. I'm just learning to knit by hand myself. Hang on just a sec. That's a hat I started in crochet that I've got to take out and start again. But this is my current project. And I had to look up a video on how to do something, but I'll show you how far I've gotten. So I've gotten this far on this here. This is the top of it, I think, because now I'm getting to where I'm going to be adding stitches. And I need to watch that video again, because you have to work in the stitch that's laying down here, I think. Again, I'll have to watch the video. Piper's got her catnip ball rolling it around in the hallway. So if you guys hear something rolling, that's what that is. So I am learning to knit on my own using YouTube videos. I don't know much about knitting machines at all. I'm trying to think of who. I think Carol McDonald has a knitting machine, or maybe she's got the one that cranks and just makes the round. Bag a Day Crochet, I think she has a knitting machine. I don't know. You might want to look up videos on Centro Knitting Machine and see what comes up. You never know. And Gail says she sold hers because she didn't do very well with it, especially with the drop stitches. I got to get a sip of tea. So anyway, I'm saying so a lot, so I guess it's time to go. I just wanted to share this hat pattern. I've already forgotten who I said I was going to make links to. That's pretty bad. I'll have to watch my own video so I know who to put in. Thrifted mug. Anytime I find mugs that are hand thrown at the thrift store, I buy them, because this is somebody's handwork that was cast off by somebody that didn't know what they had. All right. Yeah, I'll go back. My brain is like a sieve today. So I'll go back and watch my own video here and get the links for you guys. The link for the hat pattern is in the box below. And again, I can't emphasize enough, make sure that starting chain is very, very loose. You use a L hook, big chunky hook, but it needs to be looser than the width of this. All right. Bye, guys.